Welcome back, all you Fabricans and Fleshbags, to the super, not funny show, Supercast. The Supercast, where we talk about all things superhero in the pop culture space, and that's TV, movies, and cartoons, all that fun stuff, video games, anything superhero related. And of course, this is episode number 17 of the Supercast, which we want to call Spidey versus the Evil Dead. Uh, and with a little side of Shang-Chi and Legend of the Ten Rings. So, I'm your host, Mole Poupe, your resident fabricant and commenter extraordinaire on all things pop culture. And I'm joined by the video game designer, anime enthusiast, and of course, lover of all things superhero, my good friend LADI. LADI, how you doing today, man?
Doing good. Kind of aggravated with this new mic that I have, trying to get it to freaking work. It says not been mitigated.
Yeah, technical difficulties. Yeah. We probably should be working with these things like right before we start the podcast. But you know what? It's gonna be all right.
Yeah,
So, man, we got a ton to talk about today, man. It's been a hell of a week for superhero stuff. We're gonna later on we're gonna have a review of Shang-Chi and Legend of the Ten Rings with a special guest returning to the Supercast. Jen is going to join me on that. In addition, we got plenty of news to cover. Of course, we got some box office stuff related to Shang-Chi and how it's doing. It's kind of kicking ass right now. And Venom's moving up. They're not delaying, they're moving up. Yeah.
got that
We all
venom, venom, venom.
uh, Secret Invasion. We got some news on that as it gets going, and of course a couple behind the scenes photos from Aquaman 2. And we're gonna do a little bit of rumors and speculation, looking at what role Michaela Coel may be playing in Black Panther 2. What kind of role will Goose the Cat play in the upcoming The Marvels? And we're gonna see what Andrew Garfield has to say about being in the new Spider-Man movie. And then, of course, we're gonna follow that all up with our main topic, and that, of course, is gonna be what if Episode 5? And let me just say, it's to die for. Or we've got a lot to chew on there. There's a lot of flesh on those bones. I could keep going, you know. I feel like I'm feeling a little bit like Scott Lang at the moment. So
Oh my
anyway,
goodness.
let's jump into the news right now. So Lottie, um, I don't know. Have you heard about this? That Shang Chi made a little bit of money over the last 5 days.
Oh,
Just a
I
little bit
believe
of
it.
money. Just a little bit of money.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, I believe it.
and as an aside, first, well, let's just talk numbers. Let's talk straight numbers. I know everyone, listen to the Supercast really cares about all these numbers, but hey, when things do well, that means you get more shit later on down the line. So be happy when stuff like this happens. Shang-Chi in a pandemic on Labor Day weekend, which is supposed to be the worst day to drop a film. Well, not the worst, but one of the worst days to drop a film traditionally. And it's a theater only release. And, despite the fact that we've heard that all these critics liked it and all, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. A lot of critics didn't like Venom, and it made a ton of money. So, but the point is that it was critically acclaimed and everything. But there was maybe a thought that even with all of that, people just wouldn't want to go to the theater and they wouldn't show it any love, and maybe it would be a flop. Maybe the MCU's first flop. In fact, there was a bunch of, let me just call them, shit ass, toxic ass YouTube channels full of lame ass people who are constantly trying to shit on things, you know, for many reasons, some of which are indicative of the people's character. I'm trying to say that racist, sexist, etc. The toxic fandom guys. Well, a bunch of them were preemptively calling it a flop and a failure and blah 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 and all this get woke, go broke bullshit. And so, of course, Shang-Chi had to go out there and kick them in the face.
I kind of know like a couple of the channels you're talking
Yeah,
about. I
well,
literally know which ones you're talking
and
about.
fuck those guys because they're lame as hell. But Shang-Chi came out blasting those fucking kung fu moves, slapping the hell out of those idiots, and going hard. $75 million over the 3 day, but because it was a holiday weekend, they counted it the fourth day also. On the fourth day, the Labor Day day, $90 million. Now, in fact, I'm 90 million is not even. I'm rounding it down. It's actually something like $94 million. And as of today, it has actually made over $150 million worldwide. So it broke the Labor Day record, and by any kind of any kind of look at it, it's a success. Like if in your first week, I had to explain this to somebody on Twitter who was trying to make it out like making 90 million, $75 million in 3 days is bad. Even by MCU standards, that's not really bad. And but still, they made their budget back. They made the production budget back in 5 days, and it still has 40, like 40 days left before it goes to Disney Plus. So I think we can
And,
call this a success.
and also, um, we are in a pandemic.
Oh no, we can't. We can't consider that. The haters don't want to. They want to ignore the fact that that's some shit that's real, and
Y-
and and say, oh look, it didn't make $150 million the first week. It's trash. I'm like, oh no,
uh,
you're. How about you're an idiot? Let's.
And honestly, like, have you ever listened to some of those channels?
I try to avoid them with all because they always have these dumbass thumbnails with they're all leading and stuff. Like all they're doing is they cater to a few different kinds of people. One of them is just like a person that's got they got a mad on against a company or a person. So anytime they see somebody shitting on that person or company or whatever they hate, they're jumping in on it.
Yeah.
And then, or they're just like these transgressive, you know, man babies who can't stand to not see themselves represented constantly on the screen. Or they're just like, they're just shit stirrers. So like, I'm, I didn't want this to be about shitting on these channels, but fuck those guys, basically. And Liu, he went in and it was just like he took he had a screenshot of that and just put LOL on top of that on his Instagram, and I'm like, that's how you drag haters like that,
But
drag them with your success. You know what I'm saying? Which
but you
is
know,
the yeah.
uh, not to cut you off. I've actually listened to some of these channels
I'm
just to
sorry,
hear what they have to say. No, I
sorry.
mean no, like I've actually listened to it just to hear what they have to say because the thing about it is I don't mind listening to stupidity because I laugh at it sometimes. And to hear that these people really try to make arguments like it's just so funny. Like I remember listening to one of the guy. I'm not going to name his name because he does take things very personally. He might listen to our channel, but I remember he was talking one time about like Captain Marvel, and he was saying not once in the comic books was Captain Marvel a woman, and I'm like, obviously this guy doesn't know what the hell he's talking about because even his fans were like, bruh, I can't be with you on this one. There's obviously a female Captain Marvel in the comic books, bro. You're just making yourself stupid at this point. You know what I mean? And it's just same thing. They're like he's talking about Shang-Chi, like uh why would you not want Shang-Chi to be Chinese or have a predominantly Chinese cast and stuff? It just sometimes I hear these people like they talk about get woke or go broke thing, and I'm just like, you guys are just idiots. And it's just funny. I listen to it for entertainment because to hear that there are actually people out here that literally have this mindset. and it's just hilarious. And then there's people that listen to them that have the same mindset, and it's like
Or
at this point, like I'm really feel like if they like, I really feel like when Miles Morales finally gets his own movie, there's gonna be people going, like, "Why do they make Spider-Man black? There's not a black
yeah,
Spider-Man."
the kind of the worst thing about that, among the many horrible parts of that mentality is just the idea that you can take what would be any other reasonable person would be like, man, that's awesome, and then they're just like, no, I'm shitting on it. Like I'm not kidding. You know how many people, how many of these dumbasses,
Hmm.
to even Captain Marvel had passed $800 million, and they're like, it's a flop, it's a failure. It passed a billion. I'm telling you, you will find these people talking about how it's a failure of a movie, and I'm like, what by what metric? You personally didn't like it? Well, too bad money doesn't come from your stupid ass opinion. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
It's not that your opinion's stupid. It's just that you can have
no,
whatever
that's
opinion you
stupid.
can. You can like whatever you like. I don't give like whatever you want. I don't care about that. But this whole idea that somehow your opinion trumps box office is
For other
dumb.
people's opinion.
I'll tell you, and we'll get back to Shang-Chi in just a sec. But I love Suicide Squad. I love it. The Suicide
Yeah,
Squad. I think it's awesome. It is as of now my second favorite movie of the year, and it flopped. And I'm not gonna mince words. It bugs me that other people didn't like it like I did, or for whatever they watched it at home, so they didn't really get the shine it should have gotten. I hate that, but it's what happened. And not, in my opinion about the movie doesn't change the fact that it didn't do what it was supposed to do at the box office. So
yeah.
when you have these same people turn around saying dumb crap about how Shang-Chi is a failure or something like that. Some of them were like, "Hey, I was wrong. It got good ratings or something like that." You know, after they spent how many fucking videos shitting on it, but whatever. But people just literally are trying to convince us that $150 million in the first 5 days is bad. It's not. It's not bad at all. Only it's people that don't know what the fuck they're talking about, or who have an agenda to try to somehow, through the sheer force of their hate, or their hating, to drag Shang-Chi into the mud. And let me just say, mission not accomplished. You failed once again to have any. You and your keyboard warriors have failed once again to have any fucking effect
I mean,
on
it's
on a movie, on a good movie.
yeah. I completely. I mean, this is what I told some people who were like on the fence of watching the movie. I always told them. I said they were like, "What do you think Shang Chi's like?" I said, "You like kung fu movies, right?" He was like, "Yeah." Imagine that with a $200 million budget, and they were like, "Okay, I'm gonna go watch it."
It's
I'm
just,
like,
I
"This,
mean, that's basically, it's got good, basically that's what it is. And um, it's,
you know."
I could tell you, Jen and I, we went and saw it on open day, and it wasn't 100%. It wasn't like in game full, but let me tell you what, I'd say it was about 75% capacity. And
Yeah,
remember, it's the pandemic, so 75% capacity is pretty good. Uh,
yeah.
and then we went and saw it again. We went and saw it again yesterday, and again, it wasn't full up, but I mean, I'd say that it had about maybe 45%, 50, and this is a Tuesday night. So and this not just a Tuesday night in the most expensive theater you can be in at the theater. So I mean, this thing is making bank,
Yeah.
serious bank, and
And like this sort of reminds me of like the whole bashing, trying to get a freaking, not trying to find a way not to just undermine something. This reminds me of Last of Us Part Two.
oh yeah, oh Lord,
Last of Us Part Two was like the greatest example of what I call a bunch of butthurt dudes who for some reason had this hero like vision of a character. And just be honest, he was a piece of shit. The character that, like, Joel,
Hmm.
he was a piece of shit. I mean, I don't like he was one of my favorite characters, but he did shitty stuff. To not expect somebody not to want to brutally murder him is just downright idiotic. It is. It's just downright. You are a super ultra fanboy who can't take off the beer glasses or whatever glasses are fogging your vision of the terrible things that Joel did throughout his life. Like in the original Last of Us, Joel specifically told Ellie that he used to steal from people and kill them. He used to steal from them. There's a reason why a lot of people that Joel used to know when he was younger don't fuck with him. And the few people that do talk to him are assholes. There's a reason for that.
Right.
And when of course, throughout the game of Last of Us 1, his character changed, right? But he still, at the end of the day, did a shitty thing. Because I'm pretty sure, at the end of Last of Us 1, he took Ellie and killed everybody that was in there. He didn't have to do that, but he did. And he didn't tell Ellie that the only way they could save the human race, that she has to die for them to remove it, which, by the way, is dumb writing because she doesn't have to die for them to extract the cure from her brain. But whatever, that's the story that they wanted to use. And the doctor who was trying to remove the stuff from Ellie's brain was the father of the person that kills Joel, and everybody hated her. And I was like, guys, if you saw the man that brutally murdered your father, and he's living a perfect life, and he is not facing any justice for what he did to your father, you would just be okay with that? I'm like, you guys are just living such a fake life, and this is just what this reminds me of with Shang-Chi. There's a bunch of people who are just really butthurt, and they want other people to feel their rage, or because I'm just gonna be honest. You said there are no idiotic. It's an idiotic. It is an idiotic opinion. I can understand that you might not like something. Like, for example, I don't like Xbox. I'm not a fan of Microsoft for kind of screwed me over before whenever I'm with the Xbox 360. I'm not going to get too much into the story, but I personally don't like Microsoft, but I will never tell somebody not to get an Xbox Series X if they want to get next gen consoles. I'll be like, yeah, it's a good console, buy it. You know what I mean? So, but for you to have this, I hate Shang-Chi, or I hate this thing, I'm gonna make sure everybody who I know feels the same way about it and not get the movie to do well or try to cancel it. Just
Oh,
idiotic.
yeah, it's fail all the way around. So, but look, as mentioned before, this is important. Uh, Movies doing well. You want movies to do well in general, like from
Yeah,
in any particular studio. If you like smaller movies, if you like, people keep talking about, sort of movies they want to see, and they get tired of all the sequels, and those fucking sequels and those big tentpole, they pay for all of the smaller movies that people supposedly want to see. So,
yeah.
and they definitely make it possible for there to be more MCU stuff. So I'm personally happy about this. I'm glad to see it doing well. I want it to. I do want it to, do well enough to get three times its budget. Three times your budget in Hollywood accounting essentially makes it at least break even. And after that, you start to make a profit. And if they can turn a profit on this, well, I can already tell you right now, they're going to do well enough that they are, they're definitely, you're going to see more Shang-Chi in the MCU, definitely. It's a definite. He's going to be a part, probably even a big part of Phase 4. And also because Chinese representation, Asian representation is pretty big now because China is like a huge part of the box office in Southeast Asia, and in Asia is a big part. This is a thing, so it's good to see that. And also this kind of leads into our next kind of, box office related news, which is like almost immediately. And I mean, when I say almost immediately, like within 2 or 3 days, I think it's Sunday I heard this. Variety reported that Sony's moving up. They're not delaying Venom. Probably they were thinking about it. But they're not delaying. They are moving it up. We are getting Venom 2 weeks earlier than we were going to. So rather than the 15th, we're getting it the 1st of October. So there you are, Lottie. We're
Yeah.
getting Venom 2 early because Shang-Chi went out and beat the hell out of the box office.
Yeah. Sony was like, money.
Trying to get that cash. That's what it all. This is what at the end of the day, this shit's easy. It's all about it's the money.
Yep.
It's the money, and everyone you saw at Paramount they moved James Bond to next year, right? They moved Top Gun 2 to next year because in their mind, the pandemic's just still doing too much to the box office to justify their tentpole, 150 million dollar films, and Disney was like, and remember Bob Chapek was like, well, this is a good experiment. Well, fuck off for talking like that about Shang-Chi. But I mean, truthfully, it was an experiment. They wanted to see, is there enough audience, even in the midst of all this shit going on, to actually justify the cost of a Marvel movie? And, time will tell, I think. I think we have until the end of the in 40 days we'll know if it worked out. But I think Sony apparently feels like they can do this. So you know, in your mind, are they right? Are they right about that?
Are you talking about of this movie? Oh yeah, they're definitely right
I mean,
about that.
are they right to take the swing here, just
Oh
based on Shang-Chi alone?
yes, well, because one thing I'm gonna tell you right now. No offense to Shang-Chi, but Shang-Chi is not a very known character. A lot of people don't know who Shang-Chi is. As I can tell you, a couple of my friends asked me, what is the movie like? I told them exactly what to expect from the movie. It's basically a kung fu movie with a $200 million budget. Everybody and their mama knows who Venom is. And pretty much a good amount of people know who Carnage is. That movie is going to do extremely well. And Sony knows this. Come on now. This is Venom. Venom. Venom 1 did pretty much decent. But now that they had
I'd say more than decent. It made like $800 million.
oh yeah, well at the
800 million is that's a runaway success.
yeah, that's yeah.
Even by the standards of a blockbuster film. Let's say they spent $150 million on it. Even if they spent 200 million, they made 200 million profit. That's
Yeah.
that's Hollywood money. That's a runaway success.
Yeah.
So yeah, they
I
made.
can easily see this movie surpassing Shang-Chi and breaking what Shang-Chi did. I mean, like I said, nothing against Shang-Chi, but this is Venom. You know what I mean? Venom is. Some people might hear this and say, Venom's not that big of a character. There's a reason why Venom is in every single Marvel versus Capcom video game. There's a reason why he's in every single. If there's a Marvel fighting game in it, Venom's in there. It's a reason why. Because Venom is one of the most popular, iconic Marvel characters. People love Venom. People love anti-heroes. And now people love Tom Hardy with, the whole Venom's personality. And now you add Carnage into it. Man, people are going to watch that movie. Sony is completely right for what they're doing. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, this is one. I think this is just one of those things where someone, I was saying before about, one of the lemmings has to jump in the water first, and then for everyone to be like, okay, we can all jump in. And I think, at least when it comes to um, the big tentpole movies, the big superhero and blockbuster movies, they actually really do need to get out there and start making some money. Just this is the way they pay for these movies. They can't let them sit on the shelf for too long because they lose money. They lose money every time they put out trailers. They lose money every day that they're not bringing money in through ticket sales. So I do think that they're doing the right thing as well. And that's not just me anxious to go see Venom 2. It really is just from a business perspective. It makes the most sense. So
Yeah.
I was very happy about hearing that. So do have some behind the scenes stuff to talk about this week, and I'm going to go with the easier things first. So let's talk very briefly about Secret Invasion. So, Lottie, you remember at the end of Far From Home, what we not was it not Far From Home? We saw that it wasn't Sam Jackson in the movie; it was Talos pretending to be Sam Jackson, right?
Yep.
Those That's some crazy stuff. Sam Jackson's up on a damn space station, doing something. I don't know. What's he up to? And then we also saw at the end of WandaVision, uh, was it Monica, Monica Rambeau, meeting up with a scroll on behalf of Nick Fury. So, so we know some shit's going down with regard to the scrolls, and we know that Secret Invasion is a thing that's a TV show that's coming up. So we learned that over the last week they have actually begun production on Secret Invasion. So that's all we know. So let's let's just put our speculation hats on and have at it.
So, Secret Invasion movie. So, okay.
Did you now? By the way, did you ever read that comic series? Uh,
Secret Invasion.
yeah.
I never truly read the comic, but I've watched the animated series talk about it. I've seen it. I've seen it like portrayed multiple times where
Hmm.
the scrolls will come in. Um, the one that I saw from the Avengers, one of my favorite ones was the Avenger animated series that came out like in 2008 or 9, where the first scroll took over Captain America and basically started having Captain America do terrible stuff.
Hmm.
And we were just like, whoa, wait, whoa. Cap was kind of a butthole, right? What was going on? And then we see later on that really is not really Cap. It's a freaking scroll. And
Right.
Cap has been captured the whole time, and the scrolls are slowly taking over. And the only people that haven't been taken yet is, of course, Doctor Doom sitting over in Latveria, going like, you know what? I hope one of these motherfuckers come over here so I can put them inside of my basically my electrical blender. And then Tony Stark going like, I don't know what to do. In his basement, going like, I don't know what to do. Everybody gonna take it over. That was basically it. And who else? Oh yeah, and Hank Pym. Hank Pym. Hank Pym didn't get taken over. Hank Pym uh, came back as the Wasp. And it was pretty good. Captain America eventually broke free and escaped. But they didn't, of course, go back to Earth. They ended up getting trapped in the Chaos Realm. But it was like, I really liked the Secret Invasion. They introduced Super Skrull, who got all the Fantastic Force power. So this is a good question. If they show Super Skrull, do they have to show that they have to have the Fantastic Force? Because how in the heck are they going to explain?
Hmm.
Well, they can easily just say he got elemental powers, but
Yeah.
it just
I, there's all sorts of ways around that. That's actually it's not all that hard. And Super Scroll has been villains and other things besides the Fantastic Four. But you make a good point there. That we don't even know if we're going to see the Super Scrolls right now, um, because at the end of Captain Marvel, it was basically implied that the Scrolls were a peaceful, ally race as opposed to and the Kree were not.
are
Um,
they though?
yeah, that's the thing is, hey, not all scrolls aren't the same. That's like someone meeting like uh, the Dalai Lama and being like, "Man, humans are real peaceful," and I'm like, "Woo, you need to you need to get out some more because there's a whole lot more of us than that one dude. Um, yeah, this I think the when I first found out they were doing Secret Invasion, I was like, man, y'all are really going hard right now. Like, but at some point, I'm thinking like, man, y'all are gonna do all of the good storylines. Then what are you gonna do 10 years from now? But still,
Yeah.
I'm actually when they first introduced it because this is actually Secret Invasion is sort of what I expected from Captain Marvel because it was clear that the Skrulls were the villain in that movie, and then they sort of flipped the script and everything towards the end, and you were like, oh well, they're not bad guys. So I was like, I guess we're not gonna get any Secret Invasion because the Skrulls are good, and the fact that they still are leaning into it, it kind of makes me happy because there's a certain aspect to this storyline that it plays perfectly for Nick Fury. Nick Fury, he's an old spy and doesn't trust anybody. He's got a million plans running at once. And now he's got to contend with people who can shapeshift that he doesn't really know how to tell. One of the things about Secret Invasion is they didn't know how to detect the Skrulls when they were shifted into whatever human form they didn't know how to find out who they were, and it took like a lot of experimentation to find a way to reliably root out.
I, I think I think um I'm trying to remember how they were able to figure out
They
because
probably
I
just
know
asked
T'Challa
they probably just asked the Wakandans. I mean,
because I know T'Challa didn't get taken over, and I'm trying to remember how he was able to figure out who was a Skrull and who was not.
they just had the Wakandans already knew how to figure it out. That's basic.
Well,
I don't
I,
remember
I
how the Avengers did, but I know the Wakandans were like, we know you motherfuckers who you are, right? It's like this isn't hard. So
I
I don't
know
know.
I know like in the TV show Doctor Doom basically called up Tony Stark and was like, "How do you get this number?" And he's like, "I'm Doctor Von Doom. I know everything." And then basically he gave Tony Stark like a pep talk on like, "Quit being a bitch." And Tony Stark figure this shit out. You know what I mean? It was actually kind of funny because Tony Stark. It was funny like because the whole thing of like when it started when we were figuring out that the Skrulls were taking over. It was just funny that you'll see Tony Stark being super paranoid in his basement for like 5 episodes. Go just pressing buttons, go like, what am I supposed to do? And I'm like, this is exactly how Tony Stark, rest in peace, will be like. Well, we don't know. He might not be resting in peace right now. We don't know, because they can easily bring him back.
No,
Um,
don't start.
he's
Uh,
quite easy, but
but yeah,
he
well,
can.
I think that I think the thing is like it's early days. Like all we know is Sam Jackson's in it, and Ben Mendelsohn's going to be reprising his role as Talos, and then I'm going to assume Tiana Paris is going to show up at some point because otherwise, what the fuck was the point of sending somebody to see her in WandaVision? So uh, that's all we know right now. But it's good. I'm always happy to know that they're starting things.
Mhm.
And MCU they always seem to be starting stuff, right? They're always making shit. Like there's some other studios that could take a page out of the MCU's playbook and like just make something. How about just be making things? Always be making
You
things.
see.
So, um, we had a couple of behind the scenes pictures to talk about this week. From Aquaman 2, highly anticipated. At least, for me, I'm extremely interested in seeing Aquaman 2 because Aquaman 1 was just really awesome to me. So we gotta look at um, first of all the new Arthur's new suit, which I was just like, so you took resurrected Superman's suit. Is that what's happening right now? It, it's
You
all
know,
like dark.
at first glance from the top, it didn't look bad, but then when you scroll down, you're like, ugh.
Well, my thing is like, um, Are those supposed to be ab armor plates?
Yeah,
What's
it
happening
is.
there? Do you
Uh,
do we need armor plates that like that on
yeah,
our abs?
I don't know.
I
I
mean,
like the orange and green better.
yeah, I mean Momoa, he's always gonna fill out a suit and like look like a badass anyway. I'm just like kind of wondering about, you know, wondering what's happening right here. I'm not saying it's not terrible. I'm just like, you know what? You know, I guess so. Everyone wants that little scalloped or whatever look on the armor. Like it's just a thing in the DCEU apparently. Like that, like black, Superman's black outfit. They got to have the same kind of beveled armor thing going on. Um, so I,
It's
and I,
sort of like the new 52 thing.
yeah, I don't know that I'm a big fan of this, but maybe I just need to see it in context. Pictures don't necessarily do anything justice. There's some real dumb looking costumes on a still image, and then you see them
Yeah, you got to see
in
it in
yeah.
motion.
So maybe it's probably better looking than I'm thinking. Um, we also got a look at Prince. What is it? Orm,
Mhm.
who didn't get the brother of Arthur didn't get killed, even though he led a gigantic, army um, against Arthur. And apparently, this picture where we see of him, he looks like he's a caster. He's looking like super buff Tom Hanks from Castaway in here. He's apparently on an island or something like that. So don't know how that's going to play into it, but it's cool because I thought Orm was actually a really cool villain, and so it'd be nice to see Black Manta still beating around. So maybe he breaks him out. Maybe they team up again. Who knows? We're. I will say one thing though. Uh, uh, what's his name? Patrick Wilson is looking. He's fucking cut up. Dude's cut up like a motherfucker. So he definitely doing that superhero diet and
Bomb
exercise plan.
superhero. That's
Yeah,
what you're talking about. That's Hancock right there.
that dude. I mean,
Aqua Hancock.
man, you're on a desert island. You must be eating good because you got the guns out. So it's like it's just nice to see. Again, I always like to say I like to see work being done. Things that are moving forward. So good. That's cool. Good, cool to see you. We got some DC news this week. So back to Marvel news. Uh, we're gonna talk about some rumors and speculation. I was thinking today, like, man, there's always so much Marvel stuff. I'm starting to think that we should change the name of this podcast to like the Marvel Shieldcast because they just got so much stuff going on. It's hard not to just talk about Marvel all the time. So to that end, let's shield some more for Marvel. Um, Lottie, I know you like cats. Cats are just your jam, right? Especially orange cats that have Cthulhu tentacles shooting out of their mouths, and that can swallow a tesseract whole. So, well, of course, I'm referring to Goose, the cat, the little orange tabby. That's also apparently a Flerken, and you know, and scratched the shit out of Nick Fury. So there's this news that
And
they,
that's so damn crazy. That's how he got a scar.
I keep hoping they'll go back and retcon that because I'm like, so Goose just slash you and you lose your eye. Okay, you're right. You should pretend like something cooler than that happened. So,
I'm trying
but
to remember why that was just
he
real
just
quick.
ran. He just randomly did it. It was just he's like, stop messing with me. Slash. Like, well, on the upside, he could have shot his tentacle mouth out at you. So let's take your win. Take your win where you can get it. Um,
Yeah.
but this is a rumor that Goose is going to be a little more prominently featured in the Marvels, and it's I'm assuming but it's going to have kids running around. So if you thought that one ginger cat with tentacles flying out of his mouth was adorable, wait till you see several to a dozen running around like that in the Marvels.
Okay.
So
Who in the world did he reproduce with? Did he reproduce with just a regular cat?
Um, who knows? It's a Flerken. Nobody know. Nobody knows what a Flerken is about. they're they're aliens. I mean, you may as well ask me how freaking I don't know how what do a mind flayer reproduces. I'm sure there's a way to do it. I just don't. I'm not going too deep into that.
It's like
Let's
that damn starfish.
Yeah, he just probably just asexual reproduction. We'll call it that. um, but yeah, so you hear this like what what could Goose really bring to the table aside from the ability to swallow tesseracts? In this one, Goose and its offspring.
It can really fuck some shit up. I can see them fucking up a whole army. Like real talk. Just showing up like real funny, like to like an alien army, something like Thanos, and like what's that dude's name? Nick Fury's like I brought backup, and just a bunch of cats just show up, and like the alien army just laughs, and he goes like Goose. Eat, and then all of a sudden they just their mouths just spray open and these octopus tentacles come all over the place, and like all the people that were like beat up with Nick Fury going like, damn, why didn't you send them out in the first place? And he's like, I had to make sure they didn't eat you guys too or something. They'll say something like that. I can definitely see they can mess up a whole army, man.
it's
Because didn't like Goose like eat like 15 people at one time?
he certainly fucked up a bunch of people with those tentacles. Um, and it actually, now we have to wonder, Goose, where were you during Infinity War? We needed you on the field, dog. Where were
Yeah,
you?
where was he? Where was Goose? Was
He just
Goose
wait.
just chilling?
Oh,
Did he
oh,
get
oh,
snapped?
yeah. Did Goose get snapped? That's another question. But like, where were you on the field in Infinity War when we needed you? And those crazy tentacle mouth thing that you do. You got to show an account for yourself, sir. So, you know what? They just keep adding on stuff to the Marvels, and I'm just like, yes, I'm glad to know that they're not, Goose didn't just like wander off and we never saw him again. Maybe he ended up in the pound or something, but maybe they got to break him out of the local pound. We'll see. I just think that's fun. It's fun to think about. Um, we also have a little, let's say, a little birdie saying something to the effect that they know who Michaela Cole is going to be playing in Black Panther 2. This is just a little bit of rumor from Murphy's Universe, talking about that she's probably going to be playing a ex Dora Milaje named Aneka, who, uh, let's just say, is very disgruntled to the point of revolution within Wakanda. So see, Wakanda's not all, everyone's all happy with each other and it's a perfect place. Now there's people who are disaffected and dissatisfied that are not Jabari.
I
And
mean, this should not come at a shock though, because let's just be honest. There was a lot of people that quickly joined Warmonger. You know what I
well,
mean? This is not like Warmonger had to like fight a whole bunch of people for them to subjugate him. There was a good amount of people that were like, we are completely down with Warmonger and how the way he
well,
rules things. So
it's kill. I was going to say Killmonger, but
I mean Killmonger, not Warmonger. Yeah, Killmonger. There was a lot of people that were just like, yeah, we're completely down. I'm very. This is not like surprising. This is almost like, yeah, of course there are people that don't like it because is it? I mean, it might be a little bit more shocking because the Dora Milaje are pretty much trained their whole lives to sacrifice their heart and soul for their king, no matter what. So they basically, shave their heads and almost, I guess, get rid of their womanlyhood to be a warrior, and that's why it's like in the movie, what was it, Black Panther? She did not like wearing that wig or wearing the dress because she did not want to look like a woman because she is her
Uh,
whole life
I'm
she was,
gonna say, do you
you
think
know,
that? Do you think that's it? I don't know. I did not read it that way at all. My
you didn't read it that way.
no, I really saw it more as uh, their standard of beauty isn't the same as
Well, yeah, that is
ours
true.
over
As
here.
the as
Because
yeah,
Cause
yeah,
there's a, I mean, just like stepping away from the superhero stuff for a moment, there's this, let's just call it Eurocentrism within the global culture, and it's really slanted against people, particularly women having like hair that's a different texture or short or none at all. Whereas if you if you go on the continent, there are groups of people where the women's hair are short,
yeah.
really short, and the standard of beauty is not the same there. So I take that as in Wakanda, and you saw this a little too with not really sure he had braids, but you saw some other people within there that whose their hair
Yeah, I had the
was
short hair.
different, but they had
Yeah,
a short hairstyle. So I take that as more in Wakanda. That's not a shaved head isn't a mark of subjugation or subservience or anything like that. It probably actually makes them stand out more. It's maybe more beautiful or something like that.
I
And
mean, in my opinion, it is. I
yeah,
love women with short hair.
to me, I was like, in no way did that take away any of their feminine. The fact that they can kick ass never took away their femininity or any of that stuff. Well, it really didn't have any effect as far as I was concerned. These were kick ass women who clearly didn't have a problem getting husbands or wives or
Yeah,
whatever. So, but that said, that's a bit of a a bit of an
yeah,
aside. The point is that we maybe with if this is true, maybe this gives us a bit of an insight as to how Wakanda Forever is going to proceed. That they are, could this maybe be the Winter Soldier movie in the Black Panther trilogy? Could this be that that many people consider to be one, possibly the best MCU movie, but definitely one with the most complex themes and drama going on in it? Could this be it? Could this be about a potential revolution going on in Wakanda? And I'm interested to see.
yeah. I know what you're saying. Like, because it's like you said, Winter Soldier. It may not be overall best Avengers movie, but it's definitely the best solo movie in my opinion. It is the best like solo, quote unquote solo movie, and you know that is it is kind of cool because there's going to be a clash of different ideology because one of the main things that the original Black Panther was we need to go out to there's black people all over the world that are subjugated. We need to open our borders and show that we black people are strong. But I'm pretty sure there are a good amount of people that are like, that were like to the other way in extreme, sort of like not really Malcolm X, but there are people on that other way, like F everybody else, and let's go to war or let's just completely close ourselves off. We don't want to deal with any of these other people at all. Like we are black skin color and we are Wakandans or we are the superior race. We should not dumb ourselves with people who are out there. You know what I mean? And I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people in Wakanda that did not like when the barrier went down, or that Wakandas are going out there communicating with other people across the world. Especially them bringing over, especially like in the movie, bringing over quote unquote the person who killed um the last Black Panther, the last ruler of Wakanda. They quote unquote killed him. Well, he didn't kill him, but there are people in Wakanda that I don't care. Like there's just certain people that even if they know the truth, they don't care. They will hate that person no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like with Bucky. I'm sure there are millions of Wakandans that are like, why are they not only are they why are they letting the guy who killed this person? Why are they letting this white man into our country? Because let's just be honest. I'm pretty sure there are Wakandans that are racist. You know what I mean?
I
I'm
mean,
pretty sure there
there's,
are Wakanda.
I'm sure, no doubt
Yeah,
that,
there
and
are.
Wakandans are are by and large fairly elitist,
Yeah,
uh, and not that they haven't earned some of that elitism, but still they are. So yeah, I see what I could see that.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. It'll be. We'll see. I mean, we'll see how this movie goes. Hopefully, it's cool because they got my girl Ironheart in it, so I'm definitely down to
Absolutely,
watch it.
absolutely. So well, that's a rumor. We'll follow up on that in the future if we get some confirmation on that. So I would I wanted to circle back. We got a couple of bigger things that I wanted to sort of touch on, and so the first one is since we're still on rumors and speculation, Spider-Man: No Way Home. We've seen the trailer. Did not see one hint at all of any Spider-Man that wasn't Tom Holland, and yet the rumors persist. And apparently Andrew Garfield, he's just like, oh come on guys, enough. And he's saying that I'm not in the new Spider-Man. And specifically um, he says, let me see if I quote this just right. He said, "It's important for me to say on the record that this is not something I'm aware. It's not something I'm aware I am involved in, but I know I'm not going to be able to say anything that will convince anyone that I don't know what's happening. No matter what I say, I'm fucked. It's either going to be really disappointing for people or it's going to be really exciting." So I is is he saying he's not in it? I think he's saying he's not in it, but he's not saying he's not in it.
Man,
Uh,
the man has a terrible way. All he had to do was just look at those people, because literally you could read that in a billion different ways. He can literally that is what you could call spoke. In football they call it coach speak, where they're like, "Hey, coach, uh, is just get is T.J. Watt going to be available for Sunday?" I'm not saying that T.J. Watt is not going to be available, and I'm not saying he is not. He will be available. The door is slightly cracked. We will see and evaluate how we go into the future. You don't know what that means. Some people can look like, oh, there's no way he's going to play, and there's some people that are going like, oh yeah, coach is definitely saying he's playing. Just look at him. Look at him.
yeah.
That's what I like. Honestly, if I was like a football coach, or I was like, well, see, coaches, they are contractually obligated to answer questions, so they can't just do that. But actors are not contractually obligated to talk to the press. If they don't want to talk to the press, just look at them. Just be like, hey, Andrew Garfield, are you in the new Spider-Man? Just look at them. Then eventually somebody will ask them another question, and then when the next person asks them, "Are you a Spider-Man?" Just look at them again. Just be like. Eventually, they will not ask you that question because they don't want to get the awkwardness of the stare. You know what I
well,
mean? It's
well,
just
I mean, he got to say something. I mean, this it's a straightforward question, and you like to be on good terms with the journalists, but this is a no that sounds like it could be a yes. It's
it's,
and we
it's
and we have to remember something else about the MCU that on more than one occasions the actors have outright lied about about their involvement or non-involvement or stuff like that. Like most recently, the lead in the She-Hulk series, Tatiana Maslany, was saying up like almost within days of the ink being put to paper on the contract, was like, I'm not in this. I don't know what y'all are talking about. It's crazy talk. Don't who said that? Who told you that? And
yeah.
then she's like, I'm She-Hulk, and I'm like, woman. It's like, so this isn't new to the MCU. There is a certain amount of like expected, half truths, misinformation, and straight up lying that'll come from anybody in the organization, including Kevin Feige, who has straight up lied about shit. Not and God bless him. We're not. I'm not mad at him. He's trying to keep it fresh for us. He's trying to keep some shit under wraps, so we'll be like, "Woo, that's a thing that happened," you know. And if Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire are in the new Spider-Man, worst kept secret in Hollywood. If they're not in the new Spider-Man, it's the biggest fucking con job in Hollywood right now.
Yeah,
Uh,
that will honestly piss me off if they're not in the
well,
movie.
it won't piss me off. I'll just be like, it's fine. They don't have to be there in order for it to be a good movie. But it's very leading to have, Doc Ock and fucking Electro from the previous two series in this movie and then not have their respective Spider-Mans. And also, this is a multiverse. This is clearly a multiverse movie, but we're not going to bring them in. If you can't even just bring them in just to pop their head in and be like, "I'm Peter, all right, I'll do," and chuck up some deuces and roll. You can't even just do. You can't even put them in like just
I mean,
a cameo. I don't need them to beat anything up. Just walk by the camera or something and be like, "I'm
I
Spider
mean,
Man."
you literally showed, you literally had um, William Dafoe's laugh in the freaking trailer. You had his iconic Goblin Bomb. You had the freaking Doc Ock from Spider-Man 2, and then you show electricity from Electro in Amazing Spider-Man 2. If they're not in the movie, I mean, my God, I would be almost like watching the movie going like, you know what, Kevin Feige, you are foul for this. You are absolutely foul if you don't put them, like you said, at least you don't even have to show them. You can just say like we killed them from their universe, and they just show pictures of them. We're like, okay, well, good enough. I mean, we would love to actually see them in action, but if they don't even show up, like no, 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 no.
Hulk angry.
Yeah,
Yeah, I. He didn't completely say no. He was just like, guys, seriously, stop asking me about this. Like I've already said, I'm not doing this. Wink, wink. I'm not doing this for real. This I don't. He said I'm not aware of. Look? How can you not be aware of whether or not you film shit? You showed up. So either you did or you didn't. So they sitting up here playing around. At least Toby Maguire's like, I won't talk to the press because I'm not working in Hollywood right now, so I don't have to. So oh, who knows? We're gonna see. We're gonna see about it. But it's fun to speculate. It's fun to sort of talk about um, whether or not they're gonna show up. So we'll see when we find out a little bit more. Hopefully in the next month or so, and we'll talk about it then. So. All right, so those are all of our news items for this week. That's quite a list this week, really. So even with that long list, we probably missed something. There's probably some things that you guys think we should have covered that we didn't cover this time around. So if we did miss something, you can always go down to the comment section, let us know what we missed. Or, of course, you can hit us up, supernotfunnyshow at gmail.com or at supernotfunnys1 on Twitter. And just drop us a line. We'll get to it and maybe include that on our next podcast. All right, up next, Shang-Chi and Legend of the Ten Rings just released, as we mentioned earlier. And I had a chance to go out with Jen to check it out. We actually checked it out a couple times. And we wanted to share with you guys our thoughts, our review of Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. So we'll check this out. Well, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, it's a movie that I think comic book fans everywhere have been looking forward to with great anticipation. Should have been out last year, but the pandemic. But finally, it got released this past Thursday, and we sort of had heard about it beforehand from people who had advanced screenings, and there was a lot of like super positive, extremely positive, in fact, reviews from professional reviewers and people that got advanced screenings. And of course, it was 3 weeks in advance. So we've been hotly anticipating it. And I say all that to say because it's time to review Shang-Chi and the Legends of the Ten Rings. But I can't just do that by myself. Uh, I have a special, I guess, I don't want to say a special guest, but definitely a member of the show making her triumphant return. And she is, in my opinion, the most knowledgeable person about TV uh, that I know. And of course, a great lover of superheroes and the number one Captain Marvel stan that I that I know in real life, and that of course is Jende Poupée making her return to the Supercast for this special review. So, welcome back.
Why, thank you.
Yeah, it's been a minute. It's been a minute since we talked about uh, anything on the recording because we always talk about movies and stuff. But Shang Chi, you didn't know a huge amount about. You didn't really know this character before we went and saw the movie, did you?
I knew nothing about him.
Right. Just what we saw on the trailers and whatever. But you knew that I was like, this is gonna be the shit.
Right. I knew you were excited, and I didn't understand because I wasn't excited. Um, but my mind was changed.
Right. Yeah. So we're not gonna waste too much more time. We know Shang-Chi, of course, is the story of in my opinion, the greatest martial artist in the MCU and the Marvel comics. A young man trained to be an assassin and an ass kicker by his warlord father, and he comes into conflict with him. And so that's what this movie is. That's not even a great summation, but it's something what it's about. So we're going to get into it non-spoiler. We're going to do non-spoiler thoughts first, and then we'll do spoiler thoughts. So you're safe right now for the time being. So,
Maybe.
but before I run my mouth like I do, Jen, what did you think about Shang-Chi?
The non-spoiler edition, right?
Right. Don't give it all away.
I liked it a lot. It surpassed anything I thought it was going to be. I honestly was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to sit in this movie for 2.5 hours or, whatever it was. And I'm going to hate it. But, I mean, my mind was blown, and we've already seen it twice.
Yeah.
So, and I honestly, I want to see it at least one more time in theaters.
Oh, well, definitely. I think.
But it was good.
Yeah. So, again, non-spoilery. Standout performers like
Aquafina did an amazing job. I was telling you as we left the second viewing, I think she's moved up to my top 3 favorite actors right now.
Right. And what did now? Just again, not spoiler. What do you think in general about the cast? Like, was there any like anyone came up short, or was it all outstanding?
No, everyone did a great job. Everyone brought their A game.
Yeah. Or and you really got to ask, what do you think? Like Simu Liu, is he a legit? Is he a legit MCU star now?
We'll see. We'll see what they do with him next.
Yeah, yeah. I personally I was pretty high on this, and all of the reviews coming into Shang-Chi didn't do a good job of tamping down my thoughts that this was gonna really like blow my mind. And I have to say, this movie did not disappoint. It did not disappoint.
It looked good too.
Yeah, it was. I think the thing is that the impression I got coming out of this movie, I went into it thinking this, but I really came out like, yeah, this is absolutely true. Is that Shang-Chi is absolutely the best hand-to-hand fighter the MCU has ever seen, and it's showcased in the best fight scenes that the MCU has ever seen, and that once again the MCU has presented a villain that isn't exactly evil. I mean, he's evil, he's bad. He does things, but he's not exactly bad. Uh, he's a guy who loves his kids, but also is a ruthless, powerful, and guy that you don't want to trifle with an organization to match. And he's got a very specific goal in mind, and he's willing to bulldoze anyone and anything in order to get to it. But at the same time, you can sort of see where he's coming from. And the performance of Tony Young in this is kind of ridiculous. It's understated at times, but at no point do you ever feel like this guy doesn't love his kids. But he also, he has an obsession that he's sort of working through, and he's got the power to kind of do what he wants. Um, at the same time, there's a large historical sweep to the way this movie moves forward. There's also it's it kind of borrows some of the best aspects of what they call wuxia movies, like these kind of fantasy martial arts epics that are common or were common in China. If you've ever seen House of Flying Daggers or Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, anything like that, it's that sort of thing. And it's also a Marvel movie, so you got all the big action set pieces and the magic and stuff like that. It's got great cameos that are it'll make you clap your hands, uh,
For sure.
when you see some people show up. It's got some of my favorite people in it. Like Michelle Yeoh is, I could watch her train people to kick ass with kung fu any day. And I agree with you about Aquafina. She was pretty awesome. She
I love
was
her casual comedy.
Yeah, she's fun. She's definitely there to kind of bring levity to what could otherwise be a very like you know serious deal. But also she brings our perspective, our outsider perspective, and she's able to kind of like turn down the Aquafina-ness at important points so that you really believe the emotional connection she had with Shang-Chi. And also, let's give a shout out to Ming Zhang, who plays Shuling, who is Shang-Chi's sister. She was badass. There's basically there ain't no bad performances in this, and there's some like nice surprises. So I mean, just overall, I think this is really a movie. If you like the MCU, there's definitely something here for you. If you're not sure about the MCU, but you like martial arts films, there's definitely shit here for you because, again, the fights are on point. I even say this: if you are a fan of anime, if you're an anime fan, like you like Naruto or something like this movie has shit for you, and like it's there for you. And I don't. I understand that Shang Chi is doing really, really well. Like it's kicking ass in the butt, and it deserves to. Like it's a good movie to see again. I literally, I thought I was like, this is pretty good when I saw it the first time, and then we saw it again, and I was like, no, this is great. This is one of the best MCU films, straight up, and that's where I land on it. And I feel like you feel the same. It's not Captain Marvel to you. I know that. I know it's not your Captain like as good as Captain
It
Marvel
might
to
be
you.
better.
You think it's better than Captain Marvel? That's high praise because again, Captain Marvel stand over
It's a
here.
different kind of movie, though.
Yeah, it's a great origin story, and I think anybody who sees this will really get something good out of it.
And I
And
think I agree with you with it. Probably so far, best movie of the year.
oh yeah, and it's weird to say that because I love Suicide Squad, but this is really damn good and worth seeing. So if you haven't gone to see it, what are you doing? Go, get out of here before we start talking spoilers. Go see the movie. Go see the movie. Pause this right now. Run out for 2.5 hours. Then come back, and then you can hear us talk about
It's worth
the
it.
spoilers. Absolutely. So, all right, you have been warned, and spoilers are off. So, um, I got plenty to say about this movie. First of all, the cameos. Come on, I'm convinced. I'm telling you, Wong, he's the new Phil Coulson. He's going to be in everything. Like we already know he's in Spider Man. Obviously, he's going to be in Doctor Strange too. This dude is showing up everywhere now, and it's really awesome to see him. He was sitting and fighting the Abomination and showing that a wizard can kick somebody's ass for real. So I thought that was pretty damn sweet.
Yeah, when he made the guy punch himself in the
Right.
face.
I just like
That was
hell.
hysterical.
You know what's funny though is that you see Simu Liu and I mean he's in shape and all that, and you think to yourself, how the hell can he fight with like Wong or people with magic and stuff like? Or you saw when in the fighting part, there was all sorts of other like high level fighters, or we saw like a Black Widow was in there. We saw one of the extremist virus people were in there. All sorts of ninjas and sumo people. He could probably beat their ass, but I'm convinced, having seen this, that he could have beaten up the Abomination too. Like that, it wasn't out of the range. Um, I think the where this movie lives and dies is the way that it plays around with family dynamics. Like the dad, Wenwu, he's a bad guy. Like we literally see him murder people, right? He goes around and he's probably the greatest conqueror on earth. Like except I bet he didn't beat Wakanda though.
Oop.
I bet he didn't conquer no damn Wakanda though. But either way,
With his Sonic the Hedgehog rings. That's what they'd be saying.
That's why they flew off him when he got hit.
That's what I kept thinking of when it was like shing, 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 shing. And I was like, am I playing Sonic right now?
I'll tell you what though, man, those fight scenes were badass. I heard some people complaining. They're like, it's a lot of CG at the end, and it's like they're overdoing it.
Nah, it looked good.
Like, what the fuck do you want? There's a literal dragon in this thing. There's a huge Cthulhu monster, and Shang-Chi literally fought his dad and like stole his rings and shit. I mean, come on, what do you want?
And what about Ben Kingsley's performance?
Oh yes, the return of Trevor Slattery.
Yeah, and that little animal without the face.
Morris. I don't even know what anything is.
Morris.
Morris. That was so good. Like this is one of those movies where, before I said when we saw Black Widow, I was like, the writing kind of failed the movie a little bit. It's not a bad movie, but the writing kind of let it down. The writing really won for this movie because it's a good balance. Like there's comedy, but there's some really serious stuff going. There's some really serious like emotional stuff when they're talking about their deceased mother, or Shang-Chi having to apologize to his sister for leaving her, for abandoning her, and the dad, the way Wenwu sort of sacrifices himself to save his son. And even though they were just trying to kill each other before, it's I had heard it said it was sort of Shakespearean, like tragedy, and in a way it is, But all the CG, I don't care, man. I mean, look, they had big old, they had the big old dragon and those lions, and
those lions were so cute though. Kind of wanted one. No, you did too.
They looked really cool, but then they had a lot of practical stuff too. The difference in quality of fights, like that bus fight, like you see it in the trailer and it doesn't do it justice because there are aspects to that bus fight that I know there's CG in it. I know that, but the actual fight choreography, it's not. There's no real CGI in it, right? And it just looks real. It looks like to me like some real shit going on, right? And we see that throughout. That whenever Shang-Chi's fighting somebody, he's fighting, So the commitment of the actors to really selling the martial arts was pretty amazing to me. I liked seeing Michelle Yeoh again. I think she just elevates any material she's in. Like she's like such an OG that like she just shows up and just does her thing, and it just makes things you know makes things better and makes it make more sense to me. And I think again another OG, Tony Leung, which we don't really know. We're American. We don't really watch Chinese cinema, but this is a dude that's been at it for a while, and you can tell he's a veteran and he knows what to do. And it's a movie full of mostly younger people, and to see them sort of like step their game up because they're in the presence of two like serious heavyweights was really cool. Oh, three heavyweights because Ben Kingsley killing it as as Trevor.
He was good.
I loved it. There's just so much about this movie to love. You know, the not the is it a platonic friendship, but maybe not between
I want them
Shang-Chi.
together.
Everyone wants them to. Like, there's a part where you're just like, how can y'all not?
Mm.
Let's talk about the after credits scene. Uh, did you think you would? At any point, did you think, man, you know what? Captain Marvel's gonna be in this thing.
No, actually, I did. I think I told you, like,
Yeah.
I
Okay.
had
Yeah.
some
Right.
feeling. I was like, I didn't like predict it or anything. So,
Right.
but I was like, that'd be cool if Captain Marvel showed up in this movie.
Right.
And then it happened.
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
Just a real quick, like just kind of connecting it to a larger thing, and I think signaling that Shang Chi, but also surprisingly, Katie are probably destined to be like involved in the Avengers level shit in the future. Just the fact that
But I wonder
Katie.
what Katie will be doing.
Well, that's the thing is this is we were talking about this, but what does that mean that Wong intentionally included her? Because she's just a regular person, but she was also extremely pivotal in the defeat of the Devourer, right? Untrained, but somehow she shoots an enchanted arrow to help defeat the big bad, um, and that giant kaiju fight that they had, which by the way was awesome.
Yeah.
Like,
I liked all of it. All those people that you're saying about when I had too much CG,
now screw
they can
that.
sit down. This movie was great.
Yeah, it's just it was a lot of CG, but I don't really care. The dragon was doing like dragon magic and water magic and shit on it,
Yeah.
and that thing was like trying to eat it, and and it had like it was like Cloverfield. It's like when Cloverfield with the tiny little things and then the big, and then Shang-Chi just does like as Katie said, this super fireball Kamehameha. It was just I was like, how in touch are you guys with like with the culture that y'all call it out like that? Because that's what I thought. He was like doing the whole. I was like, man, is he about to Goku this shit? And he was. Um, just looking like a badass. And also, I will note if anyone who's ever seen Kung Fu Hustle, that end move that he does on the Devourer is sort of a callback to the kind of the final blow in Kung Fu Hustle, like the Buddha palm that you see at the very end of that movie. And it was pretty. It was just cool. But I think it's interesting to note that Katie, again, she's a normal person, somehow has some kind of destiny as not just the friend of an Avenger, but maybe actually rising up to being an Avenger. And so there's a lot of left on the table there for us to wonder about.
I can't wait.
And also, of course, Xialing, she's supposed to be shutting down the Ten Rings, but instead it looks like she's just taken the throne herself. So maybe she's going to be an underworld figure. And there's all sorts of ways that could go because the Ten Rings is a terrorist organization and a crime organization. And right now, we know of one other person who is operating a crime ring right now, and that is Sharon Carter. She's the power broker in Madripoor. So maybe they could butt heads. Maybe they'll work together. We don't know. But that's two badass, powerful women who are running like shadowy organizations. And I think the Ten Rings could be like the Hand, Ninja Assassin. They could be like the Hand in Daredevil. So we'll see. Um, but I mean, overall, this movie's just awesome.
2 thumbs up for
Yeah,
me, Mo.
this movie's worth multiple. It's worth multiple, viewings, and I'm definitely gonna watch it again when it comes on to Disney Plus. So, unless you got anything else to add,
No, just go see the movie if you hadn't already, and I look forward to like what the MCU's bringing next,
yeah,
and more Shang-Chi
Shang-Chi.
and his
Trying to say,
sister. I'm not
and
even gonna
Shaling,
attempt her name.
Shaling. Um,
Oh, I wanted to say one more thing too. The fighting. Uh, the first was it one of maybe one of the first ones where him and his sister are fighting in the cage, right?
right,
And then those people come in, his dad's people,
right.
and they're fighting on the side of the
Oh yeah,
building.
yeah.
That
Oh,
made me
so
sick.
you're talking about the scaffolding
That
fight?
was so cool though. But
Yeah.
like, how you've got to be skilled to be able to do that? Like, what?
Oh
No
yeah.
way. So fake, but it was cool.
I love. You know what I loved about that fight was not just showcasing Shang-Chi's skill, but showcasing Xialing how good she really is, and how good the Ten Rings fighters are. So they're flying around the scaffolding and everything, and that was the point at which I was like, okay, I like Xialing because she came back and she saved Katie. So
I
she's
wouldn't be able to step out on that thing though. Like my mind would not let me.
yeah, that was a pretty great action set piece
It was great,
all
yeah.
around. It's just like really showing off how good everybody is, and I think it's setting the tone for what was going to be a lot of great martial art actions later on. So, um, again, all around really good, great movie. You should absolutely go see it. All right, all you Fabricants and Fleshbags, we're moving on to the main event of this episode. Of course, we call this Spidey versus the Evil Dead. And this, of course, is What If Episode 5 called What If Zombies. Well, that's, I mean, they just get straight into it,
Yeah.
And I do, I'm going to say straight up, this is inspired by the Marvel Zombies comic series that actually enjoyed a pretty healthy popularity back in the mid 2000s, mid to late 2000s. I think it's had like 5 or 6 miniseries, and it showed up in the Secret Wars event from like 4 or 5 years ago. And just in general, it's just a fun little idea of like, well, what if there's uh, zombie there's zombie superheroes and they have their powers and they want to eat your flesh. Um, so let's just get into this. You know, I know we've been doing spoiler reviews, but I see no point to that at all because it's a fairly straightforward one. Let's just say, anytime there's zombies involved, you know what time it is. So we're just gonna forego the spoiler talk, forego the non-spoiler talk, and we're just gonna spoil it straight up. So you have been warned. If you haven't seen this episode, go hit up Disney Plus and watch this really the really fun and interesting episode of Marvel's What If. Come back and then you can hear me and Lottie talk about it. So, all right, it's not safe anymore if you don't want to get spoiled. So, Lottie, I have some things to say, but I want to hear your take on this episode of What If.
So, how can I say this? This wasn't a bad episode. It wasn't a great episode. It was a good, all right. You know what I mean? It's not like the one killing all the Avengers. It's above that. But I'll put it below all the other what ifs because it was like, in my opinion, watching the show, watching the movie. Watching the TV show. It played out like a typical zombie flick where literally they did everything that they were not supposed to, and I was just watching it going like, okay, so it's cool how it started off with Hulk coming back down, going like, oh, Thanos is showing up, but then the guys come and eat the what's it called,
The members of the Dark Order, yeah,
yeah,
the
Dark
black
Order,
the Black Order, whatever, the Thanos's
yeah,
people.
yeah, and then all of a sudden, uh, yeah, that happens, and then it starts getting infected. He tries to eat the Hulk. Hulk gets away because the cape of levitation protects him. And then he eventually meets up with Spider-Man and the other surviving people, and then just from there, it was a downhill slope when it comes to like storyline, because more and more as you watch the show, you're like, oh, okay, this is kind of cool, but the story was just getting worse and just worse, especially towards the end where they're like, we're looking for Black Panther, and Black Panther ends up being used to using his leg to feed his wife, because turns out Wanda is a zombie and Vision is helping kill people, and I'm just like, this, no, 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 this is just, stop it. Just stop it. And then Vision just kills himself, and I'm just like, okay, at this point, I don't care how this ends. You know what I mean? It's just, it was all right. It wasn't bad like like I said, the other one, but it was just like there was some cool parts into it. Like, okay, oh my god, it's true. A zombie Wanda would be fucking, like, honestly, how do you stop that? She could literally just change reality and turn everybody into zombies if she wanted to, or she could turn everybody into filet mignon and eat everybody. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Then you had freaking the part that really just annoyed me, but we know eventually found out why they didn't climb the fence. Remember the part where they left what's her name, uh uh the Wasp,
Hope, yeah.
Hope, and they were like, let's just sit there and wait. And I'm like, she could get back up and just step over that fence, guys. I'm just like, but then we found out, oh, what's his name is keeping them at bay. And immediately I was like, where the fuck have you been?
Well,
And then,
you
okay,
find out where he's
yeah,
been, but
yeah,
yes.
but then it's even worse. You're just like, come on, man, come on, buddy. Oh my god. I'm gonna let you go, so we can expand upon it just a little bit
Right.
more.
Well, I think this is going to be our first like disagreement about this. Cause I really like this episode. As I like, first of all, I really like zombie stuff in general, zombie movies in general. I loved Army of the Dead. Most any zombie movie, I will probably be okay with or like. And so this to me, and also the Marvel Zombies comics are really fun and all that stuff. So I really like the way that they had a lot of respect for the comics without retelling the Marvel Zombies comics. But they took certain aspects, like the fact that T'Challa was captured and used. They were sparingly eating off of him. Starting with one leg. I really like kind of the nods to that, but also this is this is really a Marvel version of a zombie movie or a zombie story. And so you're right, it does hit a lot of the common tropes. Everyone's, kind of, some people really know what's up. And so one person really doesn't and has to get with the program there's hope, literally hope, Van Dyne, but also hope in the sense that maybe they can actually find someone or something that maybe has a chance to cure everything. And this is a group of heroes, so none of them are going to give up. None of them are giving up, and they're, even, and it's fun like seeing the mix of heroes, like who survived and who didn't survive, and it was just great having having Spider-Man still being Spider-Man, and having Okoye was just regal and badass, and just like every one of these characters that I kind that I like, even down to Happy Hogan, and even though he dies, it still feels like it's true. But you're right. I mean, if a lot of that typical zombie story stuff, you've seen it all, you're not interested in seeing it again. I can see why you'd be like, enough of this. But for me, it was really just like, I love I know where this is going, and I'm perfectly fine with it. Even down to, because to me, I know I'm like, this is no way this ends well. No zombie movie ever ends with them curing the zombie virus, anything like that. I don't think it was perfect. I don't think that the episode, like, is top to me. I still think episode 2 is and 4 are better, but it's definitely, it's right around there with Captain Carter to me. Um, it just because everything felt so true to all the characters.
Yeah.
There was some silly shit in it.
Didn't it
Let's just
end with
call it.
like? Didn't it end with like all of Wakanda was taken over?
Yeah, well, and that's what I'm saying. This episode, the reason, some of the good things about it is it kept doing stuff. I was like, oh man, for real. I kept saying that. So I was like, oh well, Wakanda should be fine. I was like, would it really be fine though? I mean, especially what I liked about it is just like any horror movie, and I love that we had a character, like we had Peter literally being like, "Hey, stop doing the things that in horror movies always fucks things up."
Yeah.
Stop saying we're going to be fine, because we're literally not going to be fine. You just fucked it all up. That Don't you ever watch horror movies? And it's funny because it all played out exactly like that. Um, so yeah, it did. Yeah, Wakanda was taken over. And the Watcher's like, man, these guys really try hard to save the day, and too bad that's not going to work for them this time, because they're headed to Wakanda, where zombie Thanos is. Which zombie Thanos is I mean, of all the things that I was expecting to see, that wasn't one of them, and it's still cool. Because
Yeah.
the thing about the episode is you forget, you sort of forget for a while that Infinity War is happening.
Yeah.
Infinity War is happening, and then zombies. So you kind of be like, what's the more immediate thing? Not getting eaten. And then you forget, oh shit, Thanos is about to show up in this bitch. And you never think to yourself, man, Thanos will be fine. You're like, he'll be
It just
fine.
it
Nope.
just shows how strong that virus is. It can eat past you bending reality.
Yeah, it's I have a theory, or whatever, speculation about how Thanos comes to be a zombie, and it's directly related to the fact that two of his lieutenants, in fact, weren't there four of them on planet? He sent four of them on, because he sent two and two, right?
Yeah.
So he sent two after the time stone, and um two after the time stone, and two after the soul stone. And so, since I expect that all four of them, all four of the Black Order, were infected, like, immediately. And so when Thanos shows up and ports to wherever they are, they just jump him, and that's that. So that being said, um, why the fuck would I'm still trying to figure out, why the hell is Thanos in Wakanda? Like, I don't know. I
I
don't
mean,
understand. I don't understand why he's
I
there.
mean, I mean, um, we do have to remember that this is still, like you said, Infinity War. So
Right, but I thought that too, and I actually, maybe I've answered it to myself, but there's no reason for them to be in Wakanda if he's looking for Infinity Stones, because
Well,
there's no Infinity Stones in Wakanda at that time. Doctor Strange has the Time Stone, right? And he's a zombie, and the Mind Stone Vision has. He's in New Jersey. Why would you be
well,
in Wakanda?
Doctor Strange doesn't have the time stone anymore.
He does, because remember, in this uh all of that stuff that happened on that other planet where Doctor Strange gets kidnapped and Peter and Tony go with him and everything. None of that happens.
Yeah, but remember, Thanos at the end of the thing had had five of the
Yes, he
stones
did.
except the.
To me it's clear that he got one of them from the Doctor Strange, zombie. He
Yeah, that's
has
what I'm saying. He took the basically he just took the mind stone
yeah. Well,
because they're working together.
yeah.
Because you know what I mean. So
Well,
we don't.
my question is, did he take it from the zombie Strange and before he was zombified, or did he get it from the zombie Strange after he was zombified? But I think
After he was
yeah,
zombified.
I think it's pretty clear though that the Black Order zombified him. But again, what the fuck's he doing in Wakanda? What's in Wakanda that he needs? There's
Well,
zero. There's nothing in
well,
Wakanda.
well. One thing that we don't know, and I'm pretty sure they sort of explained it, that these zombies are sentient and they pretty much know what the hell's going on because remember, what's her name was sad when she saw that.
Yeah.
What's his name? Vision died. It
Right.
wasn't like it was just like, oh my god, my meal's gone. It was just like, oh shit, the person that I actually love is dead. Even though I have an undying craving to eat whatever's in front of me,
Right.
I still know that I love this person. So how do we know that they were like, hey, they're going to Wakanda, so just chill out there and just take it over until you get over there.
Well, yeah, and I don't think that they knew that. To be
Plus,
honest, there's a very simple answer to this that has nothing to do with Infinity Stones or anything like that. It's because as the most fortified, you know, place on Earth, it's going to have the highest concentration of food. So they literally like where there's some people to eat. Oh, it's this walled in place. Cool. I got the power stone, and I'm going to break this bitch down. So I'm
oh
it's
yeah, that is true. I forgot they
it's
did break
probably
the.
yeah, it's probably food that did
But
it.
but but the thing about it is, they couldn't have broke the portal because remember they're pushing. Oh, was those Wakandans trying to escape and the portal didn't go down?
Oh no, I think it's pretty clear that Wakanda is overrun. Wakanda because they were.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. But if he punched down the barrier, why was the barrier up? That's what I'm saying. Was it that they got inside and then there were people trying to escape, but the portal's up?
Well, I mean, it could very well be that they just made a hole in there, or maybe he just teleported inside. That's because he
Yeah,
does
because he
have he
got the
does have the
space stone.
power. Yeah, he's got the power to do that. But I think Wakanda is definitely overrun. That's why the Watcher's like, oh well, they're going to destroy the whole universe because this Thanos isn't going to snap half the people away. He's going to use the completed Infinity Gauntlet to sate his hunger, which we don't even know what that means, but I think it's pretty clear that a zombie with the power of the Infinity Stones could either wish for more people or could wish all the people, all the living things to be near him so he can eat. So yeah, good. And I'd like to say, fuck you, Hank Pym. Hank Pym ruining it once again, screwing it all up for everybody. Um,
I mean, how did he not realize there was something?
Well, I mean,
Like,
yeah, I'm sure he. That's the thing is, who had time for that? Like he's just like it's my wife. Oh no, she's tearing out my jugular's getting torn out. Oh no, and there you go. He's a zombie, with the ability to return to get small and get big, and yeah, all of that made a lot of sense to me. Actually, it's just like, man, what the fuck can you do? There's no way you guys weren't gonna get screwed. Uh,
oh, this could be a problem because they might try to get into other universes.
Well, that is one aspect of Marvel Zombies that is actually a problem because in the comics, the Sentry was the carrier of the virus, and he could cross dimensions, and he did so. He did so apparently quite often, cross dimensions and spread the virus, and basically every time the superheroes got it, it was over. So I mean, I think there's the like some of the best stuff that happened in this.
Sometimes this is just like real quick. This sort of like makes you go like, "Where's a TVA when you need them?
Mm,
When we need to cull this fucking universe. This
Once again,
universe needs to
yeah,
get
and I'm just like, once again, good job, Sylvie.
yeah.
Oh yeah, great. And do you
Like
remember?
some universes do deserve it.
Didn't Mobius mention something about zombies? About how they pruned zombies, or they brought in zombies, or whatever? Or am I thinking of vampires? I feel like he said zombies before.
I think he did. And this is just there are some times we, we've seen back to back because we've seen you know of the three we've seen this is the fifth episode and we've only seen two episodes where it's ended good. You know what I mean? Where
Yeah.
the what ifs ended in a pretty good way with Captain Carter and of course you know T'Challa being Star Lord.
And even
All the
even
other what
even
ifs,
even Superior Star Lord ended with like Ego having nobody having no one in position to stop him. He's a celestial with a plan to take over the universe, and nobody out there to stop him. And so,
well, the
yeah,
thing about it is, well, I agree with you, but I feel that they have ways to stop him, and like it's not like what's it's not like the whole thing with the thing with the Avengers are gone. There's nothing that's going to save them. I know Captain Marvel. She's powerful and she could beat up Loki. Um, when Thanos shows up, I'm sorry, let's just be honest. She can fight other people, but Thanos and his army, he's gonna just easily take the Infinity Stones. And then we all know what's the name just destroyed the universe. Uh, what's that guy's name? Doctor Strange. And now
yeah,
this one, there's like those are no hope scenarios. At
right,
least with Ego, there's ways to beat Ego. You know what
yeah,
I mean? They can beat Ego.
yeah. Well, I think, the thing about the whole Marvel Zombies thing is that it's a fun way for them to play around with like other genres, other kinds of stories. In its first incarnation, it really was someone saying, "Oh, The Walking Dead's cool." Well, if we threw the Fantastic Four at it, and so I kind of like them executing it this way, and I would love to see them. Actually, I guess they can't come back to it because they really are about to all die. But it was great to hear Chadwick Boseman again, and this guy that they have voicing Peter Parker was pretty good. So I think again, I had a good time with it. I understand why, and you didn't, but I thought it was pretty. It was a good time. So um, glad that the last couple episodes have been really like pretty entertaining, and I'm
Yeah.
really looking forward to whatever the hell they're doing next.
Well, I'll say this: it's not that I didn't enjoy it. It's just I'm not a fan of zombie movies, but I'm not gonna say I didn't enjoy the episode. I enjoyed watching it. It just wasn't like I'm not a fan of zombie movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like if I like it's like if I played a video game, like the best genre of this one genre that I don't like. It's not that I didn't enjoy the video game. I'm just not a fan of the genre.
right. No, I get it. I get you. So, um, but I think we've pretty well covered that covered the episode. I think if you guys haven't seen it yet, what are you doing here? But what did you guys think about this episode, and what do you think about our commentary? Uh, get down to the comments. Let us know what you're thinking about. Of course, you can always hit us up, supernotfunnyshow at gmail.com or at supernotfunnys1 on Twitter. we'll chop it up about what if, speculate. Let's get down to it. See what they have in store for us. And hey, while you're in the clicking mood, why don't you do us a favor and hit that subscribe button? Join the Super Not Funny Show family, and of course you can hit that you can hit that notification bell. It'll let you know when we drop new stuff, and we're doing that every week. We got a couple podcasts going. We do reviews, all that fun stuff. And I can't do this on my own. I need the insight of another superhero fan, and that is, of course, LADI, who has been giving us his insight. So, LADI, can you tell them where they can reach you online?
Oh yeah, this shameless plug. Um, you can you can always reach me at my Instagram, which is Anukinihoon. It's spelled ANUKINIHUN. Again, it's ANUKINIHUN. I upload different videos of characters I'm going to make. I actually got a surprise that I'm going to upload to my Instagram very soon. I just need to keep working on it. I also I also upload photos of characters I make, small little video. And of course, I have my YouTube channel, which is KeenyHoon25. I upload videos all the time, different stuff that I'm working on in 4K or 1440p. So, in gameplay and different games that I'm playing. So, yeah, definitely check me out when you get a time. Leave a like, a comment, whatever, show your support.
Yeah, absolutely. Y'all go to over there, show some love, do all that fun stuff. Let Lottie know you appreciate what he's doing, and we appreciate that. So next week, we're going to be talking about episode 6 of Marvel's What If. Seems like it's going to be a bit of a light week in terms of superhero stuff, but you know what? Every time I say that, more news comes flooding in. So we will, of course, cover all of that stuff when that happens. So come back next week, and we'll see you then. So until then, I've been Mole Poupée, your resident fabricant and comment extraordinaire on all things pop culture, joined by the video game designer, anime enthusiast, and of course, lover of all things superhero. And that's Lottie. And we'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.
Peace.